of Jesus into our culture. Um, Jesus, as his whole culture, spoke very hyperbolically. They blow things up to make a point get across. I guess, in the absence of radio, television, or any other form of entertainment, public speaking takes on a different character. But anyway, let us not be injuring ourselves. Okay, now, but James, let's talk about James. James, oh, this is a tough passage. Boy, he really comes down on rich people. But then as you read through it, it's really not people who have money that he is attacking. He is attacking people who use their money to abuse others. Particularly, he points out, wealthy farmers who increase their profit by refusing to pay their workers. And so that's a major issue. It still is an issue. I remember back in the 60s, the grape workers in California. Cesar Chavez, yes. That's right, the great Gallo wine boycott, which was fine with me. I never liked Gallo wine. But the great Gallo wine boycott, because they would not pay their workers a living wage. It still is a problem with migrant workers. I remember in that time period, being the kind of person I was, I wanted to identify with what migrant workers went through. So I actually went out to the fields and I spent the day working with migrant workers, picking strawberries all day long on my hands and knees in the field, crawling through the strawberries and picking. I made $4. It's not a living wage. And so the only way that the migrant workers were able to survive is they'd bring their whole families out. And you've got little kids, and everybody, 10 and 12 kids, and the mom and dad are all out there working. They each make $3 or $4, and finally they have enough to survive for a day. Pray it doesn't rain the next day. It is often that people, or a certain class of people, will seek to gain wealth at the expense of others, and James attacks those people directly. He also goes after those who seek power, who want to hold on to political and social power. And they're the very ones who put the Son of God to death, desiring to hold on to their power. It's a misnomer, by the way, and a lot of preachers, I've heard many preachers say this, that the Jews of Jesus' day did not recognize that he was the Messiah. That's nonsense. Of course they recognized he was the Messiah. He's walking around healing the sick, raising the dead, people having arms and limbs growing back. Oh, they knew who he was. And in fact, it was when he raises Lazarus from the dead, they all get together and say, we need to not only kill Jesus, we have to kill Lazarus too. Because if they acknowledge Christ as Messiah, Jesus as the Messiah, they'll lose their power. They lose their social authority. So it wasn't they didn't know who he was. They knew who he was. But they would keep their social authority and power at all costs. We see that in our own political environment, don't we? People who will do anything to maintain their political power. I say this on the day of the invasion of Ukraine. That has to have its own issues, doesn't it? James also points out that as all of the apostles in that time period believed that Jesus was returning right away. And so he's saying you're doing all these things and it's all going to crumble because the kingdom of God is going to come and everything you've built up for yourself will be gone. In fact, your very actions, your very wealth, all the people you mistreated to get to where you are, they're going to rise up against you in judgment. They misunderstood some of the teachings of Jesus because Jesus did tell them that the Jerusalem would be destroyed within their lifetime. which in fact did come to pass. But that didn't mean Jesus was returning within their lifetime. So, but yes, all of the wealth that they established, all that they built up, it was all gone. That's one of the things that I've always noted about the rich young ruler, that Jesus says, go and sell all that you have, give it to the poor, and come follow me. And he chooses his wealth. But then he loses it all anyway, because it was all destroyed during the Jewish Civil War. And the Rome came through and just obliterated everything. Everything he wanted to hold on to, rather than follow Jesus, it was all gone. And ultimately, that's true of all of us. We choose in our lives what the focus, what the purpose of our lives is going to be. And if the purpose and focus of our lives is amassing wealth and political power, Jesus may not come back in our lifetime, but we'll go meet him at the end of it, right? And then what will he have? I love the saying of St. Francis. The only stuff that you can take with you when you die is what you gave away in life.